He always took me with him, and I was supposed to have been his favorite. You might have accidentally heard some adults talking, you know, and nobody never said anything else about it. I was 10 when he died, so I don't know. I don't even know when it started. We had family members in the home that lived with us, cousins, that my younger siblings, the same thing was happening to them. And my mom, I guess during her childhood, she had been molested herself. My name is Kirby McCauley. I come from a family of 9. Well, I grew up in a home where there was no love. I didn't know what love was. My mother was a single parent after my father died, and therefore they left the eldest sister to take care of us. And by her being 12 years old, it wasn't a whole lot of parental guidance that she gave, but she did the best she could. We just started experimenting, doing a lot of things that the average child probably wouldn't do. And he was 17 years old. I'm sure that he knew what he was doing, but I didn't, because I got pregnant. And matter of fact, I was 5 months pregnant before it was even acknowledged, because my mom, she was always working, and when she came home, she didn't pay no attention, and I didn't even know I was pregnant. I was still playing out in the backyard with my brothers and sisters, 5 months pregnant. I hadn't been taught anything about sexual activities or how you get pregnant or know anything, you know. So not only had that baby, but I had another one at 16, and progressed into drug addiction, and I stopped going to school on a regular basis. I started getting high a lot and skipping school, and that's what started me into prostitution. My mom said, you know, you go out there and you have those kids, you're gonna have to provide. If you tell a 16-year-old that they go out and they get pregnant and have a baby, they need to take care of them. You know, basically that's all they know how to do. At 17 years old, I moved out into a relationship. He noticed the lack that I had for my son, and he started coming over buying. He has changed his mind, and I has changed the sexual part. And to me, I guess I thought it might have been love, because love to me was sex. I had never had anything else, so I think it was love. A lot of time, me and my kids' life was in jeopardy, because he was a drug dealer, and sometimes he might have went and done things that I didn't know, and the people would come up to my home with a gun, shotgun or something. You know, I was in fear for about 3 years. As time went on, I almost killed him because of his abusiveness. Not only would he beat me, I think the last thing before I got out of that relationship, out of 3 years, he child abused my son. I had to sneak out the back door and went to my neighbor and called the police. And when I called the police came. Not only did they take him to jail, but they took my children away. I'll never forget that night, you know, that was the time, you know, I was already alcoholic. I remember leaving my apartment and go get something to drink. I always drowned it out. That was so hard, you know, to see your kids in a place and you can't do anything about it. The most difficult thing, I think, is when I started getting turned on to cocaine. When I got introduced to that, you know, that made my behavior progress and my personality. It was like I wasn't even myself, you know. I would perform different type of activities just to have the drug. I could tell it was taking over, but I didn't know what to do. And I had people sometimes would take me to church, you know, but I would come back the same way, and I didn't know it was a God. For about 4 months, only thing I did was smoke crack and drunk a lot of beer, and come to find out I was pregnant. The whole 9 months I stayed on crack cocaine, you know, the whole 9 months. I went to the crack house one day to buy drugs, and I never left. I literally moved in there, and I can remember the times in there. It was awful, you know, the people. It was ridiculous. Most of the time I wanted to try to keep getting high because I didn't want to think about all what I had did, and, you know, the things I was doing to my children, and all, you know, over the years and stuff I had done, because it was always a lot of torment, and I was trying to drown it out. I would run it in my arms sometimes, and I wasn't getting high. I couldn't even get high no more. And I remember walking the streets at night on the corner, you know, crying out, you know, for help, and, you know, didn't want to go to the crack house, didn't want to go back to where my little girl was, you know, just really crying out. Wasn't crying out to a God, you know, I was just crying out for help, you know, because it was the point that, you know, this thing took me over. Never forget one day, June the 19th, I was walking around the street and I heard a lot of music, you know, and at this particular time I didn't know what was going on, but this lady came up. I didn't know what she was, but she came up because she saw me crying and she asked me what was going on, and I wanted to die. I really wanted to kill myself, but I really wanted to live. She said, well, you know, just come down here. You know, we have a street ministry. And I don't remember what the message was, but after it was over, the guy, he called me up and he done something that nobody had never did when I went to these churches. You know, he didn't know me, but he started praying over me. And, you know, I just felt this feeling come all over me. You know, right then and there, I just felt something literally just come up out of my body, and all that heaviness was on me. It disappeared just right then, you know. And I didn't forget, I just kept saying, I'm saved. You know, God had to put it in my mouth because I didn't even know what I'm saved meant, you know. I just kept saying, I'm saved. Saved from hell, saved from the dark world, saved from destruction, hurts and pain, saved from where I was going. God's love for me is the greatest thing that could ever happen. Love is what healed me, it delivered me, it's done kept me, it's done given me purpose, it have forgiven me that I could forgive others. It's everything that is needed in this life to live a fulfilled life. It's the only thing in this life that's gonna give you a fulfilled life.